Okay, doke. Part two. I guess I finished my what I really wanted to say um, in relationship to Matt's first offering, and then I was going to follow up with the follow up. Now, I guess I thought I had more to say about evolutionary processes and models and such, and I guess I'll, as a transition to the more personal second description about struggling with the modern polarities in society. I totally identify with it, but I wanted to start with your um, uh, um, humorous aside about people not growing up uh, into adulthood, eh, uh, and I actually think that's a serious problem, and part of um, one of the questions and concerns I have is relates to uh, a mm, stunting of the evolution of consciousness, and that is that I've I put forward with this theory somewhere else, but it's something like um, in the evolution of consciousness, the relationship between Steiner's idea of the evolution of consciousness, the relationship between the karmic reincarnation of the individual and the furthering of the evolution of consciousness are intimately entwined, and this is farther afield observation than this discussion in this chapter, and I won't go there. However, one of those notions is heritability. Um, what is inherited and what is um, there for new karma and resolution of old karma to be achieved, and in a lecture series he gave on curative education, uh, he describes Steiner describes the inherited body as a model, and this term model is I mean it all in all senses of the word. So it's to be overcome, and so childhood illnesses are a very important part of that overcoming of the model, so that a robust etheric body, astral body, and ego can emerge as unique to the individual and their destiny, and so they can best meet their destiny from a karmic standpoint. Uh, so if the overcoming of the model is interrupted, say through an over medicalization of the birth process and over medicalization of childhood illnesses, uh, for example, it's among many examples, including um, ultra exposure to media, um, and other forms of interruption of the normal developmental process that allows the child not only to overcome now the um, inherited body, but to use it as a model. So, as a model to leap off into a developmental process that is part and parcel of the contribution to the evolution of humanity, say, or consciousness. So why is this so crucial? Well, my, I would say, working hypothesis, newly developed based on this reading, is the reason why we have these multipolar identity traps going on, including ideological polarities of conservatism and liberalism that you described, Matt, or that which is, well, it was actually brought up in chapter 9 about in relationship to one of the philosophers who is seeking to live with the veil of tears of republicanism and constitutionalism or something along those lines. So here's a leaping off point for another conversation that I'm not actually addressing at the moment, but the idea that you can see where this is going, the idea that if we have an embodied model rather than the model that's overcome, then we're going to be susceptible to all sorts of simulative ideologies and pragmatic modeling of what reality is, only for the purpose of practical results. And again, this is touched upon in chapter 9 as well. So I wanted to expand on what was a passing comment and its relationship to the evolution of consciousness. And then just to say personally that throughout this whole process, I'm committed to not being subsumed by one impulse or the other from the. I think you rightly described it as temptations, and one can look at the temptations of Christ as a mythopoetic picture of this, or a real picture of this. That the temptations are conservatism, which is the Ahrimanic on one side, and a revolutionary solutions tied to personal identity on the other side, which would be the Luciferic. And I'm committed, without Ahriman and Lucifer as a description, I'm committed to finding the center, to finding the synthesis, to finding the impulses that are they're a description of the an understanding of the whole and its parts, something like that. And yes, personally, I feel the pull, I feel the tug. It one way and the other, and I'm pretty proud of the way this group has worked, and I believe it will continue to work that way. That in the background of my mind is not to succumb to, when talking about current societal circumstances, not to succumb to a one-sided description of these realities. And I think this is a curative work, like that we're doing as adults together. And in fact, I think when we do Philosophy of Freedom, you discover in that work, or it's discoverable in that work, how conflict is not possible when you're operating at the level of freedom.